Jim Dine was an American artist who is famous for painting hearts. He loved the romantic subject of hearts and the abstract possibilities. He loved to use bright colors, and we're going to create a Jim Dine inspired heart on canvas today, but we're going to start with a piece of paper that is the same size as our canvas. We're going to do the old trick of folding it in half, drawing a heart, and creating a stencil. We want both sides of the stencil to use in our project. So we're going to really carefully draw the outline and very carefully cut so that we can use both sides of the stencil and so that they are the same shape. So we have the inside and the outside that we're going to use. We're going to tape the outside of the stencil onto our canvas just to secure it down. And we're going to start to paint some big, bright areas of color on the inside of the heart. And I'm using acrylic paint. I'm using primary colors and a couple of secondary colors. I'm using some flat brushes, mostly to get sort of a big area of color, and I'm going through and layering as many colors as I can. Jim Dine did let the canvas show through sometimes, so if you're okay with having some white space between your colors, you don't have to add as many layers of colors as I do. But I just really wanted to layer up my painting a lot, and I wanted to allow those colors to kind of build on each other. So in between layers, every now and then, I didn't include it in the video, but I'm taking my painting and I am blow drying it just with a hot blow dryer so that I can get those layers to dry more quickly in between colors, and so that the colors don't blend into each other too much. So I'm just going to build all of these primary and a couple secondary colors in together into the heart until I kind of like how it looks. I am trying to cover up all of the white space, all of the canvas. And I have one really dark blue that I am going to reserve for only the background. Here I'm blotting my heart a little bit as well, just to kind of help it dry in between layers. That's another technique you can use in addition to the blow dryer. When I've built up enough layers and I feel like my heart is looking good, I'm going to take the outside stencil off, and then I am going to grab the inside stencil and put that over top of my heart. And if your paint's a little sticky, that's okay. You can't really tape that inside stencil down at this point, so you're just going to have to kind of hold it and then go around with that darkest color. Jim Dine liked to put sort of a shadow outline around his heart shapes that he painted. And so we're going to use those dark colors and then maybe even a little bit of black at the end to just really make the heart shape stand out. So I'm going through and layering all my colors again around the background area, just like I did inside the heart. Every now and then stopping to either blot it with a paper towel or use the hairdryer or both, just to make sure that my colors are all standing out. Then I'm going around the outside edge with black, and I'm using a little bit thinner brush to get some more detail or to be able to more carefully create that line. I'm also adding a little bit of black throughout the background as well. I'm not going to add black on the heart, but only throughout the background of the canvas. So I'm working on that outline with that stencil still laid down on the heart. And when I feel like I have a good outline, I'm going to peel that up and kind of take a look at where I am. I'm pretty happy with how the heart is standing out from the background, but I'm going to mix a little bit of white with my lightest color and maybe just try to pop a few little highlights in just to make that heart stand out a little bit more. And I'm going through the heart and choosing one side of the heart to be the shadow and one side of the heart to be the highlight. So I'm working that through only on the heart. And then at that point, I will start to work through the background and kind of add all the finishing touches. One more time, I think I'm going to take and add that stencil on the top and just go through and get a good outline if I can. You can go back and forth with your stencils as many times as you'd like. Just, you know, if you feel like your heart needs to be defined a little bit more, just pop the stencil back on and go around the edge, and you can get that outline more clearly defined. I'm taking black here with a thin brush and going all the way around the outside of the heart with the stencil on it, just to maintain that sharp outline if I can. I am blending that out as much as I can, and then I'll be able to lift up my stencil and kind of take a look at where I am. I'm going through, kind of touching up, adding a few more little colors here and there, and then finalizing the heart with going over the outline, I think one last time, just to bring it all together. It's nice to go around the edge and kind of blend the outline a little bit. I think that it sort of creates that finishing look and really makes the heart shape stand out from the background, especially since we're using a lot of the same colors between the heart and the background. So that outline is really important, and I think the highlights are really important too. And again, try to maintain that one side a little bit more shadowy than the other. That was kind of something that Jim Dine also really liked to do. So I'm adding a few little finishing details here, just kind of looking over it again, making sure I've got all of my edge defined the way I want it to be. I'm really just blending with my brush at this point. I'm not adding any new color. I think I am pretty much done. This is the first technique I'm going to show you. I have another technique that I also used to create Jim Dine heart, and this one is a little bit more freeform. It's got some more drippy effects that I used with the paint, and this time I used the stencils in a little different way. So I wanted to show you these two processes, and then you guys can kind of choose and see which one you like better as far as how to approach your Jim Dine inspired heart. So I traced the stencil with pencil this time, and then I'm going around with black on my brush and just kind of very faintly outlining it. I'm using really small brushes this time to start to build up all of the different layers and colors. And I'm working on the background and inside the heart at the same time, layering and layering all of those different colors, just like we did in the last, with the last piece. But again, I'm using only that dark color, only on the outside. So I'm just going to go through and build up both the heart and the background at the same time, layering the colors, stopping every now and then to blow dry or blot between the different layers to make sure they don't get too smudged. And I'm using all of the same primary and a couple of secondary colors. I have a different brush for each color. I mean, you could certainly wash your brush and use the same brush for each one, but I just kind of find it works faster if you have one brush per color, and that way you don't have to stop. So I'm building up all of these different layers, and when I get those layers completed, then I'm going to work on the outline. I started to work the outline around the heart and then also through the background, just to start, again, creating that Jim Dine sort of shadow effect. I went all around the entire heart with my outline. And then I decided I wanted to start using some bigger brushes and putting some bigger areas of color inside the heart, and a little bit outside too. But I think mostly I wanted the bigger areas inside the heart. So I'm working around the outline again, just kind of going back and forth between the inside of the heart and also the background, just working on layering between both areas until I got satisfied. I also got out the stencil one more time and went over the heart again just to kind of make that edge a little cleaner. Added one more layer of blue, and then I thought that it was time to maybe try something a little bit funky. I wanted the drippy effect a little bit in the background. So, and I would recommend if you want to do this using some really bright colors. If you use the dark colors, it can kind of, I don't know, put a different mood or a different effect on your painting. I just like how the bright colors look when they're dripping. So I mixed some water with it and then just kind of tapped my canvas on my table to get them to drip in a controlled way. The paint is still pretty thick, so that's why I have to tap so much. If you thin it out too much, the drip isn't really going to be very vibrant. It'll look kind of see-through. So I did some drips with green, and then I decided to add some drips with yellow also, just because I really liked how that looked. There's the yellow drips. I did some on the inside of the heart too. Then it's time to go around the edges of your canvas. We didn't do that in the last video, but that's an important step. I also decided I would maybe play around with adding some sticky letters, you know, just with some initials. You know, this could be a really cool Valentine's gift. So if you wanted to add some initials in there or just kind of personalize it in that way, it could be a fun effect to add. And these are just those commercial sticker letters. You can find them at the dollar store. And I just decided to kind of add them onto there for a minute just to see if I liked how it looked. And I decided to take them off in the end though, and then I decided to start to add a few little highlights with white. And that was how I finished it up. So here are the two different hearts. These are two ways to do a Jim Dine style heart, and Valentine's Day is the perfect time to do it. Which style do you guys like the best? I would love to see what you create, and I hope that you have a great time trying out these techniques. Thanks!